Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Insane Game Freak here. We're doing another Pokemon discussion because you people like it, and you know that I have to do it out of habit at this point. Also, because in the new trailer has been pretty interesting. Obviously, I have to have guests with me. So the first one, you already know him, and some of you like him, I think, because you keep asking me to bring him back. It's Tyrone. Hey, how you doing, Tyrone?
Some of you like me.
Well,
just giving you crap.
They listen. They've seen the Pokemon Blue videos, and they know that I call you a piece of shit. That's why I say some of them like you. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Tyronethegod3 here. What's up, everybody?
What an intro.
And then we actually have a newcomer released on my channel. I think this is the first collab video we've done.
Yeah, for your channel, actually.
A new challenger.
So, no, I don't have that. Listen, Tyron, I don't have that kind of time or money to do that. Don't force editing. I can't do, damn it. You're putting false expectations on me. It's KGPrestige. Say what's up to the people, KG.
What's up to the people?
I act like I expected better. I didn't fucking expect better. So with the recent fucking trailer, the Rainbow Rocket trailer we got, and I think at this point it's been a few days.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some interesting questions that have popped up, and I was like, I feel like we need to talk about it before the game comes out, and we can't get any more money out of this. Anyways, so the first thing that I mentioned is how Guzma in the poster we got seems to be on our side.
Yeah. There are a lot of interesting things in the poster, especially with Guzma.
Yeah, the more you look at the poster, the more interesting it gets, actually.
Well, and then on top of that, not only is good, and even in I think in the Japanese trailer, you actually see Guzma like fighting off two Rainbow Rocket grunts while Giovanni and them are walking ahead. But the other thing I find interesting is that Faba and Wick are on two different sides of that poster, where Faba is included with Rainbow Rocket, but for some reason Wick is with you, and you're like, and the question now becomes, what's the situation with Lusamine and all this?
Yeah. Another thing I also want to add to this is if you take a closer look at your boy Guzma's design, look at his shades. They're not the ones like they were at the start of the game as well. So that kind of could give you an idea of where this is going to take place in terms of the story. Probably after you complete the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon main campaign. So this could be like the post-game type of stuff we're seeing right here.
Well, most people are saying that purely because I think at one point you see Lysander throw out a Pyro, and the Pyro's at like 65, and it's like, well, that can't be main game.
Nah.
They usually don't have that. I think even the Elite Four only gets up to maybe like their 50s.
50s, yeah.
Maybe like 60, but most time 50. So this isn't main plot stuff. But the question then becomes, okay, so Rainbow Rocket is we're at this point we're very highly expecting them to be post game. We need to understand the situation with Lusamine, and is Lusamine going to be played out the same way? There's some of the sequences we've seen with her, with like the whole runaway sequence where she's like laying down, reaching out to the camera and shit. Is that post game or is that main story? Because we've still seen like Sun and Moon type scenes that are still in the game, like how your character and Lusamine running into Nihil. I can never pronounce this Ultra Beast's name.
Nihilego?
Yeah, there we go. So like those sequences seem the same, although we don't see the sequence of her face smiling like she does in the first game because none of the trailers have shown it off yet. So is the Lusamine new stuff, is that post game or main story?
I want to say that's main story. I still like what I think is happening is that possibly during the time that she was about to enter the wormhole, I think she might have been attacked by one of the Pokemon creatures, possibly Necrozma, which led her to lie down on the floor, and she's like, I just experienced a monster that I've never seen before, or something like that, you know. I feel like that's part of the main campaign, and that's where the story suddenly changes in terms of what we already know from the Sun and Moon games, where in the original games, you went to the altar to go into Ultra Space to find Lusamine. Where here, I feel like I don't even know what they're doing now. Because could Lusamine still be the antagonist? Because if she isn't, I should say, what's the reason for Lily and for the main character to suddenly enter the ultra space again? If Lusamine's already safe and sound with them at that point, what's the point of them going to ultra space for?
Well, I believe what really changed it all up is the fact that I think what they're doing is that they're trying to make Necrozma the main antagonist in favor of Lusamine this time. And because of that, we don't get our giant climactic scene that we got in Pokemon Sun and Moon when she was the main conflict. Her being fused with Nihilego, which that scene's not going to take place anymore, because when in Sun and Moon, that was the big thing, because you get to learn that Solgaleo or Lunala was the key to going to ultra space so that you can confront Lusamine. Here, if Solgaleo and or Lunala is getting taken control of by Necrozma, then that means you get no scene with Lusamine, because that conflict never takes place in this timeline. So because of that, also the game ends with Lily taking Lusamine to Kanto in the Sun and Moon games, whereas obviously since we saw Rainbow Rocket in the other team, they still have Lily set as hostage. So that means I'm guessing she never got the chance to take Lusamine to Kanto like she did in the other two games.
Well, that's also implying that Lusamine still needs to be taken to Kanto in this game, which if she doesn't fuse with Nihilego, then she doesn't need to go to Kanto, because she won't ever suffer that problem.
She would have never gotten the venom that Nihilego put inside of her head.
Also, because I find it interesting, which then, if that's the case, though, if we go by that logic, then it's like, well, where is she? Why is she not featured at all in this Rainbow Rocket poster? You think she would either be on one side or the other, but because we know Lily gets kidnapped, or at least gets held hostage because of the trailer, but Lusamine's not in the trailer at all. And it wasn't until the Japanese trailer that I saw a scene with her. And the new scene I saw is her with the two, what are they called? They're from the Ultra Wormhole.
The world. Ultra Recon Squad?
Yeah, the Ultra Recon Squad. She's with two members of the Recon Squad, smiling, and they're standing to each other like everything's cool. And I'm like, well, where does this scene take place then?
I'm guessing like Necrozma probably screwed her whole chances over in the ultra space, because my guess is that there's 3 Pokemon that can travel through the ultra space. There's Solgaleo, Lunala, and Necrozma. I'm guessing Necrozma must have knocked her ass out, or to the very least foiled her chances to capture Ultra Beast. And rather than stick around with us, the Ultra Recon Squad sort of saved her.
So Lusamine's still going to start off evil. She's just going to have a different ending to her.
Right. Like, I believe what happened is she got pushed aside, but she's still being taken care of by someone. You and Lily have to go confront the main problem now, which is Necrozma.
Which will be interesting to see how Lusamine will change back to the way she originally was, because the reason she stopped was of the venom that she obtained during the whole Ultra Space fight. Here, she just gets hurt. So she's still going to... Supposedly. Right. So, how is she going to reform? How is she going
That's what I'm saying. Like, she can't... That's why I don't think it's that simple, because it's implied... Because remember, her whole reason for even doing this was based on the fact that she lost her husband to Ultra Beast, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That was the original reason, and that's when the obsession started. And we can tell, at least from the early points of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, from what we've seen, that part is still true, and Lily's still running away from somebody, although people have now thrown out the theory that maybe she's running away from Rainbow Rocket. Because here's my theory. Maybe the main Rainbow Rocket post-game is all post-game, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Giovanni stuff isn't, like, part of the main game.
Right.
Like they're little bits and pieces that connect together by the end.
Yeah, like it could be a thing where Giovanni starts screwing things up towards the latter half of the game. You beat him, and then that's when he decides to use the Ultra Wormholes to grab other leaders from the various team organizations throughout the universes and whatnot. And maybe
Right.
that's the situation, and that also explains why Maxie and
Archie.
both have their old school designs instead of their new ones.
That's bugging me, by the way. We just got done beating Maxie and Archie and Oris.
Listen, at this point, we're getting like we got 4 other characters we can fight. I'm not overly concerned about Maxie and Archie. All right.
Yeah, besides,
Also,
if you think about it, you beaten Oras, Archie and Maxie, not Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, Archie and Maxie, which was how many years now? Like about.
Like almost
yeah,
13,
it's
15?
yeah, almost 15 because it came out in 2003, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
15.
The other thing we have, and this is something I've seen other people not acknowledge, that Faba is included with the Red Rocket, which makes me wonder maybe if the Giovanni thing is all post game and we don't get introduced to the Rainbow Rocket until then, maybe Faba is the true antagonist of the main game.
Like he's been
And
secretly plotting all this behind?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's been plotting. He gets beat, and he's the one who ends up recruiting the Rainbow Rocket. Because if you notice in the trailer, you don't see Faba, but in the poster, you see Faba.
Yeah, even in the anime, they've been trying to make Faba off as to be more of the bad guy than.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, Tyro, because that was the next thing I was going to bring up. I've seen some of the previews, and I'm like, wait a minute. Lusamine doesn't act nowhere. She still has her problems, but she doesn't act nowhere near as off as she does in the mainline games. And I know, especially from Best Wishes and even X and Y, they have if the second version or the next like generation game comes out during the anime still airing, they tend to add in elements from that second game.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if Faba is the main antagonist of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon's main game, while Giovanni is the major antagonist of the post game.
Even when.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, even when I was playing Pokemon Sun and Moon, I felt like Faba's intentions were more or less evil, because Lusamine just had the unfortunate circumstance of just being twisted. She was twisted. Like she lost her husband, and it just got in her psyche, and that's how we ended up where we are today. Faba's situation seems like he was a little too down for the Aether Foundation following these corrupted orders. Like, yeah, I'm totally down for this. Where you can't blame the grunts. The grunts are just following orders. Faba seemed like he was really down for this stuff. Notice you never fight Wick at all. Wick is always good no matter what. She's always on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was supposed to be the thing that like balanced out Lusamine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like Faba was basically like that little devil part of Lusamine's shoulder saying, do it, do it, do it. And Wick was like, no, you have kids that you still need to take care of. And unfortunately, Faba won that one.
Yeah, because even I don't think it was this trailer, but one of the older trailers, Gladion also has a somewhat new dialogue sequence with Lusamine, and you know it's with Lusamine because he says like mother. You don't see Lusamine in the sequence, but you notice he says mother, and I think he's talking about Lily. The only thing that kind of lends to the weirdness of how the main game is going to play out is the fact that you still have the sequence in which Lily changes her appearance, and we still end up going to Pony Island.
Yeah.
Because they still show that same cutscene, except they just changed out the chieftain with what's her name? The fairy type
The trial captain? Yeah, I forgot her name.
Elena, is that it?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Where they replace her, so I'm like, okay, so we still have that same sequence. You still have Executor Island. So my thought process is that whatever happens, it's got to be around that. It has to be around that big clash of the Aether Foundation where things are going to majorly change. On top of obviously having the Ultra Recon Squad wandering around throughout the main game. I'm also curious if this is going to add any aspects from the post game in Sun and Moon, like Colress and Grimsley, who randomly fucking show up. That we're just kind of like, okay, well, thank you for the callback. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, but, they're just sort of there, just to add to the battle tree, and that's it.
Yeah, because I didn't even understand. It's like you put them in here, but you didn't really do anything with them. So is that what Ultra Sun and Moon is going to do? That
I
also,
think it was just familiar faces.
and I will say the one potential cool thing about this is that means we now don't know which Sun and Moon game is canon or if the next game will take place in the universe from Ultra Sun and Moon, or if it'll take place in the universe from Sun and Moon.
Or neither.
I like the fact that while we were talking about that, the evil organization members that come back are evil organization members from realities in which they succeeded in taking over the world. So if Lysander has Zygarde, then that means there's an alternate timeline in the canon of Pokemon in which John was right about Pokemon Z.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably true because I think Lysander is the only. No, there's I think it's Cyrus. I mean, there's someone on the squad who doesn't have a Pokemon that can naturally mega evolve.
Probably Ghetsis.
Yeah, it's Ghetsis. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if
but Kira makes up for that with its redder. My guess is like if you play Ultra Moon, it'll probably be like white Kyurem, and if you play Ultra Sun, it'll be black Kyurem, or vice versa.
And actually, speaking of Ghetsis, because the other interesting thing is that he's in his Black 1 outfit. He's not in his Black 2 outfit.
So I guess
because that means he must have been successful in taking over the world in Black 1.
So there was no Black 2 because he
already succeeded in Black 1.
Yeah, there was no main character in Black 1 to stop his plans.
Oh God, that means he killed Anne in Black 1.
Well, yeah, this is a very people need to underestimate Pokemon and say, oh, it's just for children. No, Pokemon gets pretty dark.
Well, he tries to kill you in Black 1. Remember?
Yeah.
I was gonna say as well, if you think about it, that also applies to Archie and Maxie. That means they successfully dried up the land or drowned it all.
That also means Archie and Maxie are from two different
dimensions.
Yeah, they're not even from the same dimension. They're from two different dimensions in which one triumphed over the other. So they should be confused because they technically killed the other person in their ambitions in their own universe.
Oh my goodness, Lysander is actually, him taking over is actually a better result than what we got in XY. You want to know why? Because at least it's finished.
Yeah, but the problem, actually, Lysander's is confusing because Lysander wanted genocide.
Yeah, Lysander, you wanted to kill everybody, but at least your timeline's finished.
Well, that's why I'm confused. I'm like, if you wanted to kill everybody, then Lysander succeeding in his universe means shouldn't he be dead too?
No, maybe he got warped here right before the entire universe.
Right before he died.
This is why people are more invested in the lore sometimes than the games, because this is the kind of conversation that comes out of it.
Meanwhile, no one cares about Cyrus because he's the odd one of the bunch.
Cyrus looks like he wants to die on that poster, and I love it.
Well, Cyrus has always had that demeanor, to be fair.
He looks like just end it all. I really don't care.
Well, it's because Cyrus legitimately doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have origin form Giratina, right?
We've already seen clips of that form, although that could have just been the wormhole we seen. There's also a few sequences of different animations. Like there's a sequence of like Hal and Hala next to each other fighting against the damn
Ultra Beast.
Yeah, Ultra Beast.
I think it was Assembly.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, like, is that just going to be the new sequence for when the Ultra Beasts get out? Which can't be 100% true because the new ones don't, because the old ones are in their own universes, unless they're just focusing on the two. Well, actually, it's not two. No, it is. No, it's like three, I think. Three Ultra Beasts now?
UB Adhesive. Oh, yeah, it was the three. They introduced 3 new Ultra Beasts. UB Adhesive was shown to be used by one of the Ultra Recon Squad. I don't know if that was intentional and that's going to be real in the game, or they did that just to show it off and this is what it looks like.
And we still don't even know where the hell that Guzzlord scene with Nanu, when that takes place.
No,
I don't like.
He lands right there at the entrance.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember.
We still don't know when that takes place, and I think we've seen Because I mean, there's a lot of other stuff we can mention, like how the not only is the Aether Foundation taking over, which now explains, considering Faba's on the Rainbow Rocket Squad, it makes sense why the Aether Foundation is their new base, because Faba probably just offered it off as like a gift to Giovanni. But the other thing is that the Festival Plaza is also taking over.
Oh goodness!
Which I don't understand why or how that's a thing.
Because it doesn't need to exist in the first place.
I thought the Festival Plaza was the one that was taken over.
There's both.
Is it both? They confirmed that?
Yeah, because the Aether Foundation is what is their actual home base. But in one of the cutscenes in the game, in the trailer, you see the Festival Plaza has been taken over too.
Good.
Which is why I'm confused.
I think they're just using it as an excuse for us to go to Festival Plaza.
Yeah, because I don't understand why Festival Plaza. Because even in the cutscene, you see you and Sophocles walking into it, and then you're like, well, why would this be taken over in the first place? Or how is a better statement. This is like an online only feature. Why would this even be a part of that?
Because nobody liked the Festival Plaza.
I mean, listen. We're not. That's a rant within itself.
Yeah.
We don't have the time, Tyrone.
Speaking of which, why Rainbow Rocket? I'm fine with the name. I'm not gonna have any issues. I've always wondered why recall yourselves. Like everybody knows who Team Rocket is. Why bother changing the name?
Wanna know why?
Because it's a rainbow of all the.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'll accept that.
I was also gonna say that was the code name for Sun and Moon before it became Sun and Moon. Remember, it was Project Rainbow.
Yeah, the prototype name.
I see. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And I guess because like Necrozma is like a prism, and when you shoot light towards a prism, it makes a rainbow. Okay, gotcha. Got it.
We're good, guys. Tyrone got it.
I just like what? I don't know. It's a weird name to me, Rainbow Rocket.
Oh God. Okay. So, based off of the image, we know that we'll have Wiki there, who, for more than likely, is just going to be healing. Like that's just my suspicion.
She's our white mage.
Yeah, Guzma. I'm not totally sure what the situation with Guzma is going to be, because we know that he's in there and he does help you, but to what degree? Like, is it just him? You get the double battle with him, or
I'll hold off some guards while you move forward.
Doesn't he just have his hands on like two people's faces, which is so comedy related type of stuff? Because I love it because it looks straight out of Looney Tunes, where he's just holding these two characters in their faces, and you see the grunts just like waving their arms forward, trying to grab Guzma, but they can't.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't become one of those situations though, like in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, where Lance is like, I'll go do nothing while you take care of all the work. Teamwork!
I have a sneaking suspicion that's exactly what's going to turn into. Like, I'm almost 100%
I hate those. Lance was a piece of shit. It's like, thanks for helping me defeat all of Team Rocket. Here, have Whirlpool. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of deep-seated trauma with your favorite generation.
Well, because, no, not just that. It's just like, dude, why would you give off the impression that we're working as a team when in reality I fought all the guards here?
Listen, it's still a dungeon. You still got to do some work in it, and the concept of double battles was not a thing yet, so they couldn't really justify.
Yeah.
There was like either you have Lance beat half of the group and you're only fighting like 3 trainers, or you do everything and at least get some experience out of it.
Right.
Because I think you deserve it more than Lance does, since he's already a broken piece of shit.
I mean, but at least fake it till you make it. Like, I couldn't even see Lance. I searched the whole area. Lance is nowhere to be found. He's not programmed in the game. When he walks off, that's literally, they wrote his programming off. He's done until you beat that part, and then he's reprogrammed back into the game. So, literally, he wasn't there until you beat Team Rocket.
Well, okay, and here's another question that I find very interesting.
Yeah.
A few questions. First off, they only have rocket grunts, even though every one of these leaders have their own kind of grunts.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I find interesting. The second thing is, why isn't any of the Team Skull members helping here? I feel like if we got Guzma, we should have Team Skull.
Well,
Or are
Go
we
ahead,
still going the
KG.
logic that Plumeria is like the new leader? Well, actually, was she the? Yeah, she was the new leader.
Yeah,
Of Team
that's
Skull,
exactly
wasn't
what I was thinking
Team
of. I think.
Skull sort of disbanded towards the end. Not
she? Oh,
like,
that is true.
yeah.
Because I think Plumeria ends up fighting you for a title match later on.
Yeah. Plumeria decides to become she really wanted to be a Pokemon trainer. She
Which-
just got wrapped up in this Team Skull stuff because she likes Guzma a lot.
Are we gonna start the shipping? Actually, I'm surprised there's not enough shipping photos of them two either.
Nah.
Especially,
No, she was more like a big sister, not like
well, I know she was for like the group. I'm talking about her relationship with Guzma, though.
Well, that was never really touched.
Actually, were they even? They
They
were
weren't
barely
in
in
this. Yeah,
scenes.
that's why I said they were barely touched on. I don't even think they were in the same scenes together.
I can't think of a sequence. No, they weren't. They were never in the same
No.
area at the same time.
Plumeria usually sticks around with her usual grunts. Like in the demo and even in the official game. She tends to be with her... The grunts.
Yeah.
And and the other thing is I've noticed that even in the trailers, we haven't even seen Team Skull much in the trailers.
At least we know that they're there.
Yeah, they're there. They're just not.
They're there, but I find it weird because the only reason why you wouldn't show them is for one or two reasons. Either A, nothing has changed, or something has drastically changed.
I think the thing is, by the point you get to the altar, Team Skull would have already been disbanded. So I assume from the beginning point of the game to the altar, that's where the story remained the same. So there's no real reason to showcase any footage of Team Skull.
So you don't think there's gonna be any real deviation until?
No, I think there are gonna be some dialogue changes, but I don't think there's actually gonna be any kind of major difference that makes us get introduced to new grunts that we've never faced before. I still believe it's still gonna be the same from beginning to at least the point of the altar.
I would say Aether Foundation is where I expect the most changes, and not the first visit. I'm talking about the second visit.
Plus,
I'm speaking for the Team Skull grunts because they were
okay.
In an advertisement standpoint, that's a lot to take in. Like, I made a joke about it on Twitter where I was like, wow, Team Rocket's coming back along with the Aether Foundation, Team Skull, the Ultra Recon Squad, Wu-Tang Clan, and the Jabberwockies. Like, I was making a joke.
By the way, follow Tyrone on Twitter.
Yeah, I was making a joke, but my point was is that there's so many evil organizations in this game that in an advertisement standpoint, it'd be a bit overwhelming to show them all off at once. Because I think this is the game with the most evil gangs in it.
Well, yeah, because it has more than two.
Yeah.
Hell, this is actually Sun and Moon had more because it had two. No, that's a lie. Omega Ruby.
That's a lie. That's why I said that. That's why I said it's more than two because I was thinking of Hoenn. I wasn't even thinking of Sun and Moon initially, even though that technically could count. That also, the part about this that makes me the most excited. That means Guzma's actually going to get some full development instead of what happened in Sun and Moon, where he was kind of touched on for the
suggested development if you walk into his house.
Yeah, and that was the problem. Which I'm curious at I see the fact that Guzma turns good. That's what makes me curious about how this plot's gonna go. Like, if they still do the Lusamine stuff, they can't do all of it, which interrupts Guzma stuff too, because Guzma was involved in that.
I'm kind of glad they dropped that. Hopefully, they dropped that off too, though, because while that scene with Guzma saying "y'all stupid" is nice, why was Guzma there? Like, let's be 100% honest.
It wasn't fleshed out at all.
Yeah, and then like. All we know is that Guzma is a rogue Pokemon trainer. That's about it.
Well, no, we know that he tried to do the Island Challenge and he failed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he failed and became a rogue trainer. He won awards and stuff. He was a good Pokemon trainer, and all of a sudden something happened, and then he stopped.
So, do you think we're gonna get an explanation to his backstory? Maybe.
I would like that actually. I think that this is why I kept calling Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Pokemon Sun Complete and Pokemon Moon Complete, because they're starting to add in those elements that should have been in the original game, but now they're adding it here in these titles, which is great because one of the issues I had with Sun and Moon was that there were so many great characters that never really got fully fleshed out, or even to that point of you wouldn't even know you can interact with them after you defeat them the first time around. Where for trial captains in Sun and Moon, when you complete the grand trial and you head off to the next island, they I think only just like mention it once, but it's very very minimal. Where they're like, "Hey, did you know you can go back and face off against the trial captains and all that?" And
It wasn't until we watched you play it live that I didn't even know you could fight them.
Yeah, because I didn't know that initially.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like they're gonna probably find ways to kind of add these little elements into the main storyline. And probably Guzma is going to be one of those inclusions where they're going to suddenly give us more backstory regarding how he became who he is today and what led him to reform to be, on your side instead of on the bad side here. So I'm curious to see how they intend to add these little bits and pieces into the main Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon storyline, which I'm looking forward to because we're finally getting answers to questions we've been kind of wanting answers for, and they're finally providing it here for us.
You don't now. I guess it was for anniversary purposes, and that's what I've used to calm myself about this explanation. But you guys don't think that bringing every villain back from 20 years of gameplay is like, you don't think that's a cheap move? Do you think it's a cheap move or do you think it's a good move? I personally have come to terms with the fact, they're celebrating 20 years of, okay, fine.
Well, the other reason, this is the last 3DS game.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
And also,
if you're gonna go out, you go out with the biggest bang you can possibly go, which makes me really excited for the Switch game, because that tells me that they're gonna do some major resets. So that's a different story.
I would say this does feel like reset fuel.
Yeah,
like it makes it seem, well, the fact that you've now introduced a new version of a game that is technically an alternate universe opens the door for them to do wherever they want. They could totally do a remake of Kanto and do an alternate universe remake of Kanto if they want.
Where you actually encounter Lily.
That would just... Well, no. It'd be even crazier if you played as Lily.
As a female option, that'd be cool, yeah.
So who would the male character be? Just Red?
Just some generic... No, or just some generic male trainer. Like, the way Lily's outfit is set up, you can change her color palette and everything like that. She doesn't have to be called Lily, but her design would be an instant callback. And she looks like a basic trainer when she's done her design. So that would actually be pretty cool. Pokemon's done stuff like this before where it's like, oh, look, the main villain of the evil arc you were fighting is actually the last gym leader. Oh, look, the final trainer that you have to fight is actually you from the old game. So it's not too far off where it's like, oh, you start this game playing as the female character from the last game if you choose to do that, or you could just play as a generic male character. It's up to you, really. So it's not too far off. It's the reason why in the anime, the female protagonist of most of those games are always the one that travels with you, while the male character is just Ash.
You know what? I wouldn't mind if they decide to do a Coliseum/XD type of direction where it comes to you're stuck with that main character no matter what.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt if it's more story driven.
Exactly, because of the fact that Lily has a backstory that you've already, got an idea of where it's going. Now it's just more so completing this side of the quest
and it was especially good with Coliseum because when you played Coliseum, you played as Wes, a kid who used to be a part of Team Snag. So he had like this dark backstory. The game doesn't compliment on it, but he still had this dark backstory because you were controlling a former villain, which was cool.
The other thing I find a little interesting, we still, if the post game is going to be this Rainbow Rocket stuff, where does things like adding in Ryuki and what's her name, Kahili, into the main story, where does that fit in?
That's another thing. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is being very, I don't know if this is picky, careful, or what it is, but they're being very specific about which cutscenes we see and which ones we don't.
Also, another thing to mention regarding Kahili is that if you notice her character model, she doesn't have a Z-Ring. And I believe in the game she does. Isn't she one of the Elite Four?
I can't remember if she had a Z-Ring or not. And
I don't remember either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I fought her, and then I beat her, and then I was just on... sort of there in
Yeah,
the
you were
old
so
game.
OP at that point. It was just like no real
Plus,
threat.
plus AIs when they do Z moves, you don't see them. So if they do a Z move, it's just done already. So you don't even get to see if they have a Z ring or not. I think if the computer uses a move on you, the attack just happens. You don't see them doing the poses and shit.
Yeah. Let me see if she actually does. I'm gonna try checking
I'm
out the
actually,
mod.
I'm actually looking at the trailer again. I noticed that they still have the Team Skull scene at Pony Island where they all try to attack you,
Hmm?
which kind of confirms that they're gonna still maintain that same uh, plot for the most part, which is
Right. Like to be honest, I from what I've seen, a lot of the plot differences are going to come towards the end. Like the Pikachu park or whatever that is in the Mantine surfing, that can happen anytime. But I believe the big climactic changes are going to be towards the end of the story, kind of like in Diamond and Pearl, where instead of Dog and Palkia getting caught at Spear Pillar, Giratina just rips a hole open.
there is a weird sequence I noticed where you have Guzma, Lusamine, Lily, your character, and two of the Ultra Recon Squad members standing in this one area, which
Yeah.
is very confusing to me because that shouldn't have happened. Like, I don't understand a situation. Now, the ground looks very weird, and I don't know where this scene takes place. But it's very interesting to me that it's a normal because Lusamine and Guzman and they look fine, but Lily's in her like post character development clothes. So where the hell would this take place at? That's implying. I mean, it's already been kind of stated that the Nihilego fusion probably isn't going to happen. At least that's my guess. Is that it's probably not going to happen at all.
Right.
So does this take place before she turns evil or what? Because even the fact that Team Skull still shows up on Pony Island in itself is kind of like, okay, well that tells me that part it's still canon.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, the Pony Island stuff took place right after everything in Aether Foundation went down, right?
Right.
If I got the timeline straight. That means that everything's the same up until after that point, I guess.
I want to say yes, but I still think that like, even though the main story is still going to remain the same, they're still going to just add little tweaks to the dialogue to kind of match with what they're trying to do with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Because some of the dialogue has been changed, as mentioned before. With Lily's dialogue, you mentioned about Gladian's dialogue as well. So I think aside from just that, we're not going to really get many changes in terms of the main story layout. I think it's still gonna just stay intact, just with little script tweaks and whatnot. That's all. But I don't know. It's really interesting because what can they do like from the beginning of the game to the Age of Paradise? What exactly can they add in between to make it different?
Well, all we know is that some of the trials are going to be different, even though I think the trial captains, for the most part, will be the same, except for a few of them. Also, we need to bring up the question. We know that Melina's getting her own trial, so which captains are getting replaced?
I mean, I don't think a captain necessarily has to be replaced in
I'm talking
Pokemon.
about like main story captain.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think a captain has to be replaced for that. Well, because
So
trials are odd. And trials.
well, I'm just talking like plot related
Oh,
because they're not going to just make the game randomly longer to make the main game longer all of a
I
sudden.
mean, well, from what KG wasn't it you that said that the storyline was supposed to be longer based on how much data is in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon
Apparently,
versus
it's
how much was
twice
in
as
Sun and
long or
Moon?
something like that.
Yeah, so they might make it longer.
So we just get extra trial. But I don't know because that kind of messes with the whole gym leader correlation. About
Not really, because like once you got to Pony Island, things felt rushed. After the whole Lusamine plot the first time before you fight her in her Nihilego form, it feels like the rest of the story just sort of is rushed. Like, okay, you just did the first half of the climax. You got to go to Pony Island to get the flute to do the second half. So let's go ahead and throw in some trials real fast, and then let's
And also, I'm
Like
mad at certain Z crystals because it's like, hey, you don't have to fight no one. Just pick it up right here in this pillar.
Right, yeah, Melina's just like, here, take the Ferium Z. Oh, the trial? Nah, I ain't got that. Maybe next time. Bye.
So
Yeah.
was it? So that's saying.
Okay?
So pretty much they're gonna add Kahili and Ryuki to the Pony Island to flesh that out.
Yeah, because Pony
Possibly.
Island didn't feel finished at
Well, it's
all.
like the only one you could get away with adding stuff to, and people would be like, "Okay, yeah, that's fine."
Yeah, you
Especially
can
because
add
we
it
Well,
know
to
there
that's
the
because it
are.
fake
was
Victory Road, which is
that.
very big and massive. There's a lot of
Yeah,
space. You can add stuff there.
yeah, that's because it was in game too. So I guess they thought they could get away with just rushing it. Plus, it was very jarring after you finally did the climax of the story, and then after you did it, it was just like, well, go do the rest of the league, I guess.
So it's essentially going to be like a platinum, except have a way better late and post game.
Yeah, and it's going to be more difficult judging from the footage we got so far because I believe they mentioned Hal has more Pokemon compared
Oh
to
God,
in the early start of the
God.
games compared
That's
to
fine to me.
yeah.
He's been a pushover the whole fucking time.
I still wish there was
God.
a hard option, man.
Yeah, but I think we're not gonna get that, and if we do
No,
get it, we won't get it like
Ah,
now.
it'll probably just be an unlockable. Be like, hey, you
it's
completed the game the
two.
first time.
It's 2017. Fix that shit already.
2017, and we're paying for the same game with DLC content.
Oh, and yeah, I was just gonna talk about that as well, just briefly cover over that because a lot of people have been attacking me about it. It's like, oh, Tyrone, you made all these comments about how it's basically going to be a reskin of the game you just played, and now you found out all this information. Doesn't that make it a big hypocrite? Like, no, it's still the same game. They just decided to change the ending up a little bit.
Yeah, basically, at least from what we've gathered so far.
Yeah, and at
And
its core, Pokemon's still the same game, but
And you also can't deny that the first 4 months since the announcement of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon felt more like, hey, it's
Yeah, you can't blame
Sun and
people
Moon.
for feeling that way.
Yeah, Sun. Like it took me 4 months to really get interested for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon because during that time they're like, hey, Legendary's got a redesign and there are these new Pokemon forms. Enjoy. But that was it. We never got to see anything more. But once they started introducing Ultra Beasts, new ones, and the storyline a little bit better with Necrozma and all that, it felt more interesting for the audience. It started seeming like, okay, it's not exactly a copy paste no more. It really does feel like they're actually doing something. It's just that it's going to be so late in the game that your experience the second time around is basically just a repeat of the Sun and Moon game until the Age of Paradise. Where it's just like, oh, you just got to go through all of that again.
I did just notice something different.
Yeah.
You remember in the first in Sun and Moon when the Ultra Beast showed up, one of them
Yeah.
shows up in front of Hala and Tapu Koko shows up in front of him?
yeah.
Well, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, that happens. That sequence happens, except for UV Burst. The thing that makes it interesting is that wait a minute, How is with Hala in that sequence?
Isn't he supposed to be over at the other area with Lily and Gladian?
That's the point I'm making.
So he's two places at once.
So either at some point, either that means How doesn't go up there. That's the stuff that makes me question how similar it's going to be, because it's like either you're going to take him out of there, which seems a little unnecessary to take him out of that sequence just for him to be next to Hala, or there's something else going on.
Well, we already know that Hal's going to be there because I think he's hiding behind Lily during one of the cutscenes when Lusamine is going into the wormhole.
Yeah.
So he's still there. So I really don't know what they can do unless they suddenly confirm that there's a twin Hal and he's over there with Hala. But that's really that's really how it's being handled so far. It's like you can't exactly have Hal over there when he's right here with us at another island, and Well,
now I'm going back and looking because now I'm genuinely concerned about what the situation is.
Unless what I think is going to happen is this. I think during the time that Necrozma begins consuming either Solgaleo or Lunala, depending on the game you get, and enters the wormhole, that's when it suddenly has enough power to summon Ultra Beasts throughout the various islands. And that's where you get to see how over at Melemele with Hala. Like
Yeah,
maybe
either
when
that or you and Lily are in Megapolis or whatever it's called.
You know what I think is going to happen? I think when Lusamine is going to try to summon an Ultra Beast like she did in the Sun and Moon games when using the power of Nebi, what I think is going to happen is that she's going to try that, and instead of Nihilego coming out, it's going to actually be Necrozma, which is what attacks her and knocks her down on the ground. And from that point, Necrozma probably leaves again, but it notices Nebi and, probably tries to help guide these characters to the altar to consume it. Or something of that sort.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Is there anything else to discuss at this point? Because
I mean, like, from what I see, just from what we mentioned, there's a lot of speculations going all around, and the only reason we have to do this is because Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is showing us a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of content, but no substance. But they're showing us a lot of cutscenes with no real weight on where these cutscenes take place or how they take place, and it's a mixture of oh, these are cutscenes from the last game, but with a twist.
yeah, which makes things hard because then you're like, okay, but there's something different, but we don't know what that different thing
But we
is.
can't pinpoint it because all we have to go off of is the last game.
Which I guess is a good thing because now you finally have a reason to go play it.
It's good for surprise purposes, yes.
And I want that compared to how they did it with Auras, where they're like, hey, remember that Zinnia episode? Yeah, let's reveal it a few days before it actually comes out.
Yeah,
that was so fucking stupid.
The thing is, if you want the surprise factor, then don't show us these cutscenes at all.
They're gonna have to, no matter what, because now we
they
live in a day and age
where show us.
Look, it's either they show it to us.
Show us Team Rocket. They didn't have to show us all the evil villains. They could have kept that a secret.
Well, to be fair, considering that people's hype for this game was pretty low key,
they had to bust that out.
Yeah,
they had to show something that was worth it.
And they really went out with a bang with this one. They're like, hey, you can fight the Rainbow Rockets, but not only that, legendaries from various games are suddenly making appearances.
I was the least hype about the legendaries.
You know what I'm hyped for the most regarding that? And it seems it might be going in that direction. We might finally be able to get some shiny legendaries that were difficult to do so in the other ones. Because it looks to be similar to the Hooper rings, where
the true evil of Alola shiny honey.
I mean, come on, man.
See, I wasn't a big fan of legendary hunting when it happened literally about a year ago or almost 2 years ago. I'm not really a big fan of it now. Plus, we have Pokemon Bank. Do you know how many Mewtwo's I have now because of Pokemon Bank?
No.
Not enough.
I don't care about legendaries. Unless these are legendaries that know specific moves that they can't learn in other games, I kind of don't care. It's just like I caught enough legendary Pokemon.
You can't even use them at all anywhere because they're banned in certain places.
They're banned, so it's like, who gives a shit?
I guess it's just there just to give you an additional sort of content. Yeah,
they're trophies. Legendary Pokemon have always been trophies ever since the first game.
But now they feel more than in the past. At least in the past, they felt more like, hey, you caught a legendary, have fun with it. Here it's like, now it's just bragging rights. Hey, you caught the legendary from this dimension, or you caught the legendary from this dimension and all. I also realized there was one last thing we never mentioned, which I think could be pretty cool if implemented correctly. The totem Pokemon. You can finally own one.
The totem stickers? Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's like you acknowledge his existence, but it doesn't really mean anything.
No, I don't think there's going to get any boost of stats. It's just going to make your Pokemon taller.
Yeah, I would say, because I know probably going to be banned in meta gameplay unless like you guys just said, they get a size boost, but they're still regular. Like, okay, fine.
Which means you only care about them for an aesthetic reason.
The only totem Pokemon I really liked was Vikavolt, but okay, if we want to go that route, sure.
Hey, now you can own a giant Vikavolt. And a giant Togedemaru, judging from the footage we got for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Wait, so is
Wait,
Togedemaru going to be a totem
I
Pokemon
don't know,
in
but
this
there
one?
was you guys remember the early trailers for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon where they had cutscenes with Togedemaru?
I didn't
And it
see
Yeah.
looked
I saw
angry.
cut things with Mecha Vikavolt. That's what I saw.
No, Togedemaru had a cutscene in the early Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon stuff.
Well,
It was like,
are they still gonna do the difference where like Moon has certain totem Pokemon and
yeah,
They
so
confirmed
maybe
legendaries are like that too as well.
yeah, I knew the legendaries were. So does that mean that maybe Togedemaru's the replacement for Sun and Mecha Vikavolt is the replacement for Moon?
probably, yeah.
Hey, that'll add more reason and purpose to go and
Well,
try to play
yeah,
both versions.
That would definitely help. Variety was. I know Black and White did really good with variety in terms of like which game is different from which game.
Yeah,
In
but
fact,
you're comparing greatness with mediocrity. You can't
Oh
do that.
wow! But yeah, that was like the theme of Black and White was like, look how different we can make our two games. That I actually really commend them for that one.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of sad that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are indeed the last titles for the Pokemon series here in handheld because now we're going to be moving to the Switch. Who's excited to finally pay $60 for the mainline Pokemon title now?
I don't want to hear that.
I mean, if it's $60, at least then hopefully we can get $60 worth of a game. Maybe it's just, and I've always been wanting to say this ever since, like, I want to say Oris. Maybe it's just because it's my age now and I'm very specific about a game I've been playing for 20 years. But I feel like something big needs to change with Pokemon and make me want to stay playing with Pokemon. Because honestly, I think it's just been, for me, it's been just this. Sometimes it's almost felt like it's been a chore to play the damn game. Like I gotta do it because it's Pokemon.
I feel like this is gonna get like a turn really depressing really quick for no real reason.
No, I'm not trying to make it that way. It's just there's a lot I'm expecting Pokemon to do that other RPGs have been done. Like, why when X and Y came out, were we just getting excited for a 3D RPG of a game we've been playing for years? When in reality, that should have been done. That shit.
The same reason why we got excited when X and Y was the first 3D game.
We should have been done that shit. Like,
yeah, Pokemon's very slow, but because it's Pokemon, it's kind of
because it still gets the, like, I still say that Pokemon to this day is one of the most versatile of all RPGs because you literally get to play with 802 different characters.
Yeah.
You get to form a team of 6 out of 802 different characters. So no adventure will ever be the same. You can play Pokemon a bunch of times over. Your journey's going to get different each time.
It's just, I guess, only I'm curious to see what they intend to do for the next Switch. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, KG. Like, I hope the Switch does bring like something fresh, and I hope this is a reboot for the series, because then it'll give us a chance to actually get some good content. And if it's going to be $60, then I want $60 worth of a game.
You're asking too much. You're being greedy again.
Honestly, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, not Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but I mean, like, the 3DS titles still feel like a $60 game crammed into 3DS cartridge, which costs only $40.
I guess. Technically, that's arguable, I guess.
Because if you think about it, you're getting about 20 hours of gameplay from it, plus additional post-game, just like a regular $60 single-player type of game would kind of give you.
If you made Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire a bit harder, I think it would have made it $60 worth. But because it was so easy, it kind of cut it down until like the end where you do the whole Deoxys Mega Rayquaza thing. That was obnoxious for some reason. But everything outside of that was easy. And then, they don't even have the decency to finish their Battle Frontier, which they say coming soon. It's just like, no, complete your damn game.
I hate that the most about the Battle Frontier, to be honest.
Yeah, like, complete your damn game. Stop unfinishing things and then making me wait for the next game only to show that you unfinished that too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I honestly don't have much more to say because I think everything has been touched upon, has it?
Right. Did we talk? Well, speaking of Battle Frontier, the battle agency in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
No, I don't.
You know where you get to rent a legendary Pokemon and fight?
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care about it.
I know, yeah, it's a one-off battle. If you play the game right, one-off battles end very quickly. Plus, you're using a legendary Pokemon, so it'll probably be over.
But there's no point to it because it doesn't add to the dex at all, so why bother?
Right, this is the weirdest thing they've added to Pokemon ever. Some people say they like it. It reminds them of the Battle Factory, but...
I mean, okay. I think that's obvious what it's a callback to.
Yeah. But other than that, it's like, what was the point of this?
There was no point.
Who did this?
And no, we're not. Y'all stupid. Anyways, I think we've covered everything, so I think we're gonna end it off with that. So I appreciate KG and Tyrone for coming on and talking with me right before the new information comes out on the 10th. Luckily, you should be watching this at least a few days in advance. So we'll see if any of these theories or guesses we have turn out to be correct. But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to KG and Tyrone. Both of their channel links will be in the description. And yeah, tell me how you're feeling about Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Do you disagree or agree with any of our theories? And if you do, why or why not? Anyways, I'm fucking up my ending. Anyways, life's a game. Play the win, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.